weird that there's not a table in front of us. Yeah.
It's actually probably better. It's probably like better posture and stuff.
Probably.
Both, it's like your body languages are one off. Like one of you's moving while the other one's not, because you talk with your hands all the time.
Yeah.
So like when she's sitting still, you're moving. So like let me just like don't like look so posed, but okay, that's not what I was going for, but that'll do, I guess. I can take more from the side, but I like that one.
I like it.
A really good one.
That's funny. Kind of forgot I was wearing holy jeans. Does that matter? No. Okay. Month 2, we're establishing a dress code.
Yeah. Suits every day.
We are here today to discuss what we've learned in our first month of business.
It is the 1 month anniversary for Piper Creative. We're going to go through 3 big lessons, starting with number 1.
Number 1 is, for me personally, and I think Erin can probably agree with this, is I actually prefer working with a business partner as opposed to working alone. So before we went into business together, we were both kind of going solo on our own projects. Going into business by myself was good for a certain period of time, but there's something about working with another person that especially has a very complementary set of strengths and weaknesses that makes doing business much easier, much quicker, honestly, faster, and much more productive.
Yeah, it's almost like breaking that saying, if you want to go fast, go alone, go far, go together, because I feel like we're going faster together because I'm in some ways freed up to not even worry about all the things that you're fantastic at, the aesthetics, the creative stuff. I can just kind of hand off to you, which opens up more time for me to not only be in the business development phase, but also highlight her skills. It's, I think a lot of people struggle with the like, look at me, it's all about me, I'm amazing, you should buy me. Whereas like I can kind of say, and we've done this.
Yeah, we do this all the time now.
She's a badass. I basically get to sell her skill set to people, and that, you know, people will laugh at that or people will engage with that. It makes it so much easier to get our first couple clients. And I think maybe that's another, I don't know precisely how much detail we're going to go into in this video, but we have signed multiple clients within 1 month. It is possible. Revenues are going to be coming in. It's not breaking the bank. We're not balling, but the business is actually off the ground in 1 month, which is another thing that's possible.
Yeah.
Number 2 is just the lesson that branding is super important has reinforced itself to us. This is obviously something that we already believed, hence why we started Piper Creative. But I think that one of the things that's very apparent is that both Hannah and I, within our circles, within our networks, have a reputation, have a brand, have a, whatever you want to call it, that people admire some part of our work, are interested in what we're doing. And when we came to the market with these very specific 3 offerings, once people understood what they entailed, what the pricing was, the sales process already started on second base because they'd either seen, you know, Hannah's fantastic Instagram account, or they'd seen or listened to my podcast or other projects that we'd worked on together. And so for a lot of people, those initial touch points that we just made over the last 2 or 3 years set the table for initial clients or other conversations that have already taken place.
Yeah, I totally agree. It really helped, especially for us individually. I think we mentioned this in the Piper Answers video, but it helped for me to see your brand grow and evolve over the years, and I'm sure in turn it helped you. It just made it a comfortable pairing, I guess, and to join those 2 brands together to make Piper Creative.
And I think that at some point we can create more either resources or information about starting something from zero. And we're kind of doing that with a few clients that we're bringing on. But really there's this difference between we've already built up this equity and some momentum over the last 2 years versus starting from a complete stop. And it's just extra work. It's not impossible because we both started at zero at one point as well.
Third lesson that we've learned in month 1 of our business is how to, going forward, make every pitch easy to accept for our potential clients. So we've noticed just sitting down with some of the people that we are going to be working with in the future, that some of them automatically get what we do right away, but other times it takes a little bit more time to warm them up to the idea of, okay, so we can document this process for you. We can build you a podcast that down the road will be very beneficial. It's just, we need to, I think, going forward, better prepare ourselves to make each of our pitches personalized and more attractive to the specific client.
And I think one thing that makes that really easy for us is the fact that we're doing 3 specific offerings off the bat. We're not trying to be full service. We're trying to say, we do these 3 things, we do them well. We're not necessarily even, like, one of the steps of that sales process is identify the problem. And anyone who's interested in talking with us clearly has a problem bringing in clients, building brand, or just in their general marketing efforts. And the other thing that's giving us a huge advantage is just being really frank in terms of what is or is not appropriate. With the analogy that I've been using is when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And so some people have actually come to us saying, hey, I want a podcast. And we've in turn said back to them, you're in startup mode, you need short-term ROI. With your own business, we're talking about getting a brand from 0 into something, and the podcast is not the best place to do that. Like, in hindsight, for my own brand, I don't know if starting with a podcast was the smartest thing to do, but that experience and that knowledge has informed me and allowed me to tailor the pitch to really help give people what they need. And that's a big part of just taking objections off the table and building trust with your clients as well, because you're doing something that is in no way, shape, or form guaranteed. I mean, we're guaranteeing that the content will be made and that it will happen so many times a month and that will bill you, but the exact amount of engagements or impressions or feedback is not something that you can explicitly predict. So we have to build trust in other ways, saying, this is better than that because of our experience, because of what the data is telling us. And those type of conversations are something that we're just going to get better at having.
Sweet. It's been a good first month.
Yes.
Thank you for following along for our first month of this epic journey and empire that we're building. We are really looking forward to producing a ton of more content in the future and letting you in on all of our industry secrets.
Absolutely. And comments below, as always, if you have questions about what we're doing. There's going to be many more Piper answers in the future.